Okay, welcome to the quick start guide video for the robotic CNC tending work cell. Today I'm going to show you how to load a new job, a new recipe, and then we can show you how to load the machine with parts and start the machine. And I'll explain some of the information that's happening on the screen as the machine is running, and then kind of show you what happens when it stops. So this video is in simulation mode, so it may be a little bit different from how you're seeing it on the active machine, but the general process is going to be the same. So first thing we want to do, just kind of a little orientation here. We're on the operation screen, and we can kind of see different operational states of some of the devices in the machine, and as well as our rack status. We have a done rack and a raw shelf here, and we see in our done shelf we have a completely fully loaded done shelf. So let's just take note of that. Let's look at our recipes that we have and talk about loading a job. So when we get a new job, we want to activate it. We need to come to this recipes screen. There's two ways to get to it. That link here, or going to the home page, recipes, will get you there as well. So we see here we have three different recipes loaded already into this machine. And so if I wanted to create a new recipe or load a new recipe for a job, I would do so by using some active buttons that are located down here. But as you can see, the buttons are gone. And the reason for that is because the machine wants to verify that all the parts are empty and gone from the cell before we load or modify any of the recipe data. So basically what we need to do here is unload the done shelf. So done shelf, click on it, edit it, come in here, and you would select all these, unload, and save. And so in a real life scenario, you would go into the cage, make sure you actually unload the done shelf before you're doing that step. Um, and so now that we have an empty robotic work cell, we can go back to our recipes page, and now we see that we can edit and modify, change recipes. So in here, we have the option to add a recipe. So if we had a new recipe, we come into here, we add a part number, let's say 45325, just something arbitrary. The NC program number, this is going to be something likely a 4-digit number, so I'll use 8888. So this is the number that the machine will actually call to the CNC. So the CNC will actually run this NC program. The extrusion type, you have a drop down menu there. For the length, it needs to be a number between, I believe, 4 and 15 inches, but I'm not exactly sure on that. So for now, we'll just enter 5. And then for the part weight, I will enter 0.5. Save that. Now we can see our new recipe. It's 453256 is now in there. We can finish editing that. So let's pretend we want to run a job with that recipe, with that part type. So the way we do that is we change a job. We want to actively select the recipe that we want to run. And then we need to include a batch quantity. In this example, I'll do 6. I'll activate this job. It's going to ask you a series of questions in order to verify that you can truly begin this project. So first we want to confirm that the work cell is completely empty of parts. If it wasn't, you want to make sure that you go ahead and do that. But for now, let's confirm that it is. We want to confirm again that the shelves are empty. Now we have the option at this point, it's saying, okay, go ahead and load the raw shelves with parts. So at this point, we'd go into the raw shelf, we'd physically load it with parts, and then we'd come here and we would load the parts like so. Reset the machine. So basically you want to lock, energize the machine, reset it, reset the robot. I'll show you that too on another screen, and just a confirmation that we completed this. So the operation screen is the primary screen that we're going to want to use. So before I reset the robot and reset the CNC, I'll just kind of show you some of the status. So as we reset the robot, you'll kind of see this jump to this 100 idle status, this blue state, and the robot's ready to actively do some things in the cell. When we reset the CNC, kind of the same thing happens. The CNC gets ready to load. And we can also see in the left-hand panel here, this task queue. We see some planned tasks that we have coming up ahead for the robot. So at this point, we've locked the cage doors, we've reset the robot, reset the CNC, and now we're able to start the process. So we would go ahead and hit the start button, and the robot would move through a sequence of tasks here. As it's performing each task, you can see the part data is flowing around. The robot's picking things up, placing them into the machine. At this point, the robot started the CNC, and we see that the CNC is running and had 20 seconds to run. The robot will do everything it can until it runs out of tasks, and it'll sit at home and it'll basically wait for the CNC to finish. Once the CNC is almost done, the robot will move into position to load, and then it'll eventually unload it. Once it unloads it, it drops the parts off, picks the new parts that need to go in there, restarts the CNC, and then finishes off those newly machined parts, basically washes them and loads the done shelf, as you can see here. And you can see our good parts count up here is now 2 of the 6 job parts that we need. So this process will basically continue until you either stop the process, which you can do so here with the stop button, or once you reach your job count, which is 6. So at this point, the robot is loading the last 2 wash parts into the cell. And there's something a little off with my simulation here, so there should normally be a 4th part in there. Okay, so at this point, the robot has stopped itself and it is basically completed 6 of 6 parts. So you can see here it's automatically stopped. And at this point, it would be safe to unlock the cage, go into the cell, unload the done parts, unload, perhaps you'd unload the raw parts as well, or you'd start the job over. But in this case, we'll just say that we unloaded here. Unloaded. Just for good housekeeping, let's just unload all these. And so now if we go back to our screen, we can see that we are completely empty and the robot is basically ready for a new job. So there you go. That is the quick start guide for this machine. Thanks for watching.